What up? What up? What up? What's going on? This is the NCFS podcast on the Nerd Cyclopedia channel, and I am here, DP Brown, the Master of Ceremonies. What's up, guys? What's going on with you?
What's up, buddy?
To my right, is that it? Yeah, that it. I got the Michael Duche. Ducci is in the house, in the building for this Multiverse of Madness extravaganza. Down at the bottom, we got tmitch.com in the house. All right. He's in the building. And if I can point to I can't never tell. In the corner, in the bottom right-hand corner, we got the doctor. The doctor. Steel City Hitch. Just came out the show. Fresh takes in the house. It is so awesome to see you guys. How you guys doing today?
Living, bro. Living.
Good, man. Lovely.
All right. Before we get down to the brass tacks, let's talk about some get some house cleaning out the way. Nerdcyclopedia.com. People, make sure that you're going to our site and you are following our links to our different platforms on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram at Nerdcyclopedia. Make sure that when you are watching us on YouTube, like you are right now, you are hitting that subscribe button and also hitting that notification button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. We got a couple different things going on here. Got Carbonite Bounty BS. We do that every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Talking about like different Star Wars goodness that's coming up. We got the Obi-Wan show coming up soon. Tomorrow night we have a review of the Darth Vader comic book series from 2015 that Marvel published. So we'll be reviewing the first 6 issues of that. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. Make sure that you guys are leaving us some feedback. Nerds at nerdcyclopedia.com. If you are listening to us on your iPhone or on your Galaxy phone, any phone that you're able to listen to us to, make sure that you are going to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, any place where you listen to your favorite podcast, we are there. Without further ado, we got some good stuff coming up. We have just seen Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, the second Doctor Strange movie. Oh man. So let's go around the room. In fact, let's start out with the doctor, the good doctor. Just got out the show. Fred, he came straight from the show to the podcast, guys.
It's nice and fresh for him right now.
Nice and fresh and everything. So let's get your quick opinion before we start, getting into like the meat and potatoes of it. What did you think of the movie, Doc?
All right, so I am the doctor tonight, and I feel like because I didn't go to 8 years of nerd medical school, to be called Mr. anymore. So Doctor Strange is an awesome property, and I love that Marvel, feels the license to get weird with it with Doctor Strange. I really like that, and I love Doctor Strange 1 was such a great movie to like just chill out and watch because the visuals are so crazy. And Doctor Strange 2 doesn't disappoint. I think this movie definitely led with a lot of really impressive, like impossible, scenarios and impossible places people were, to the point where this movie made the Avatar trailer before it look like trash. So I really appreciate the creativity. And I think this movie, it felt so much like a comic book to me. Maybe more like than any other of the comic book movies we've watched. The dialogue, not great. I mean, those scenes felt very much like two people staring at each other across the OK Corral over and over, which is just like how comic books do it. There was a bunch of crazy stuff. Random characters from other comic series show up. Like everybody knows that if you read comics, you know what I mean when I say the asterisk panel. Asterisk panels in this one, right? Yeah. You may have seen this in WandaVision, right? And I like that because it makes me think about what they're doing now is moving from the Silver Age analog into something more like the Bronze Age, where you would like randomly Charles Xavier shows up. You know what I mean? Randomly. It's just a pretty random cameo, right? I enjoyed the movie because of its randomness. I think also, though, I think maybe that the randomness was too random sometimes, where I didn't feel grounded a lot in the plot, and it felt like, the power levels we were talking about, we had like maybe the Namek Saga problem, where who's super powerful and who's not powerful, and what power they're using, and what are the rules, and I felt like I got a little bogged down there, which just means that I was not paying attention to the plot. Is all that means. For me, a really great movie. I mean, even if I thought it was the weakest of the Marvel movies, which I don't think it was, I would still think this is a B plus, and I think it really delivered everything I wanted to see. So I'm here for everything, and I stayed for Jim from The Office doing a really great Reed Richards. So I liked it a lot.
All right. Let's go upstairs, dude. The Ducci.
Take the elevator up this time. All right. So I'm not going to get into like too much of the nuts and bolts of the story because I'm sure we're going to get into that a lot going on here. Um, I think as a typical Marvel movie, it does set an expectation. It always exceeds the expectation as well too. Um, definitely a theater movie. Definitely the popcorn movie. Um, Being a Marvel fan as we all are, we have more of appreciation as opposed to a novice going to see the movie. They might not understand all said cameos and all said storylines, what are going on. But if you've seen all 28 Marvel movies, as we all have many of the times, it's just like a nice, great fandom movie again. So that's how I appreciate it, as not so much as the storyline goes on. I do like how they did a twist of it again, going into a different aspect that we really haven't seen from Marvel, as like the horror aspect of it all, which I'm sure we're going to touch more into that again as well. So that was good to see, because I mean, as a Doctor Strange movie, you're going to get special effects, and you're going to get a different, for lack of a better word, strange movie. So, so, I mean, it set the expectation, and don't let and it totally goes from what the trailer led you. Totally different movie from the trailers. So that's also a good expectation, because you don't want to get the entire story from the trailer, which we got basically nothing from the trailer except for just some cool scenes that you know ends up not being exactly what we see.
All right, T. Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on you guys, I've seen it. I've seen it twice. Once with my children, we always go to the early one, and then I drug my wife to see it as well. So um, yeah, she enjoyed it, and she's not much of a comic book person as far as watching it as a movie. So if I think about this movie from the totality of it, somebody who doesn't follow this a lot, it's a good movie to watch. I mean, for us watching, as Duche said, all 28, there's parts, and Hitch got into it, and we'll get into that here soon. There's parts of it that didn't need it. The randomness was in some cases too random, and it once again, I've said this on a couple of different times, this one was so cool. It was good. It told an ending finale, a good finale, but I just felt like it got rushed. And there were parts to where things were too random, too quick, and it ended. And I was like, if you gave us 15 more minutes, or just just keep that for something else, because obviously, as us being nerds, we know that this leads us to Kang, and we'll get into what the ramifications are as far as if this leads to Secret Wars, things like that. But for this, as I meet watching it before we even get into the nuts and bolts of it, like we said, I thought it was excellent. I will say, and I'm going to already kick this off as me and DP always do, the audience reaction that I got watching the first showing is completely different in Spider-Man, and you'll be shocked because there is a really, really extremely loud cheer. I'm talking the whole movie theater went nuts over a character that I didn't expect. I'll just say that it was loud. It was a cheer, and I was like, okay, but each his
Interesting.
own.
Interesting.
So it had your Avengers Endgame, your portal moment that saved your movie, but we'll get into that.
All right. So yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you guys and everything. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Not the greatest. I wasn't a really big Doctor Strange fan from like the beginning, So but I'm a big MCU fan. So anything that has MCU related stuff, if it's Kevin Feige, I'm into it. You just feed it to me, just give it to me. So seeing this. And I'm glad they expanded on like the characters in the movie, like having like Wanda, carrying her over from like her series and everything, and expanding on her. Elizabeth Olsen killed it. I mean, every time she steps into this thing, she just like smokes the screen and everything. And I'm just like so glad that they changed her whole like uniform and everything to and to adapt for this movie and everything. So she killed it. I liked America Chavez. She was okay. I think her character development could have been better. Um, the overall movie was the overall movie was good. You know, it was some parts I missed. Like I hear about this, I have to actually see again, like the note scene and everything. You know, a lot of people were clamoring about and everything. I must have been tired because I totally missed that part, or I must have like left out to use the bathroom or something because I totally missed that part. Um, and the horror elements of it, it was if you want to call it horror, I guess it is horror for horror, for a Marvel movie and everything. But I've seen horror. This wasn't it. It was fun stuff in the movie. It kept itself light for the most part, and it pretty much presented itself as like a Marvel movie, which I totally appreciated. And for the hype that came with, like Ducci said, seeing it in theaters was a must. This wasn't a streaming thing, and going from Moon Knight to something like this is like it's a step up. You want to have this in the show and actually, know it all happens in the same universe and everything. But the differentiation between what we get in the shows, the streaming stuff, and this is stark. If you want to put like another character, name into it. But it was a really good movie. It was a really good movie. So I guess we could sort of like get into like the nuts and bolts, and like I'll start it off like this. If we're in spoiler territory, so anybody who's watching this, we're spoiling everything from this movie and everything like MCU related, just period. So if you haven't watched any of the 28 movies that came out, why are you even watching?
Why are you watching us?
Yeah, right.
It's just like our handsome faces and everything. So so they introduced so I'm gonna go right straight to the meat, to the thing that sort of irritated me a bit. You introduced the Illuminati, and I know how big the Illuminati was in like the Civil War comic, right, from the comics and everything, how the gravitas of what they represented was is big in the books, in the comics and everything. So for them to introduce this here, and for them to be dispatched so quickly and everything,
correct.
that's
That
me
was
wanting
my gripe.
like, are you serious?
That was my gripe.
You introduced them like super quick, which screams at me like, okay, Marvel, you don't really do fan service like this. So I don't know why and how you wanted to just introduce them so quickly and then just dispatch them just like that. In my screening, T Mitch, I mean the big cheer I got was in my screening was for Krasinski as Reed Richards and stuff.
That's what mine was too. Yeah, that was a big reveal. Like they went crazy, and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
I kind of because I mean fans been clamoring for that for like, well, fan casting, I should say, not clamoring,
Right.
but they've been fan casting that for so long, and it just kills me. The cheers that the cheers that it got, because even though he looks like he could be a Reed Richards, I don't know if this is a Reed Richards I would want debuting in this capacity for such a big character as like Reed Richards is for the Fantastic Four. Not only do you have like the Illuminati, Fantastic Four is pretty big for the MCU.
Yeah.
So for him to be introduced like this, I'm not sure about that.
Well, at least the one good thing is we won't have to sit through another origin story of the Fantastic Four. So
I hope not.
All right, we're gonna get in that rocket. Gee, guys, I wonder what's gonna happen to that rocket.
Right. I mean,
go well, or do you think they'll happen upon a mishap at some point with the rocket?
So, I mean, they kind of went on the the introduction of how they introduced Spider-Man. Everybody knows how Spider-Man became Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Black Panther, no really origin story for him until he got his own movie, and then they do the flashbacks and everything. So I think they're trying to lean on that aspect of it. Like everybody already knows who this character is if you're a Marvel person. So let's get him let's do our fandom and get him in there and and go from there. And we could kill him off because he's part of the multiverse and he's not part of our universe. So
Right.
I just want to know. I'm so upset. I mean, to go into it, since we're talking about the Illuminati, how many times can Professor X get killed by a different Scarlet Witch from a different universe? I mean, is that like
Right.
the thing that they try to do? Like, how many people have to kill Professor X? How many Scarlet Witches kill Professor X? It's mind blowing.
I
I
think
don't know.
what you have is Patrick Stewart basically being a Shakespearean actor and just really loving death scenes. 'Cause,
Right,
there's nobody loves a death scene like a Shakespearean actor, and he's like one of
right.
the greatest ever. So
Yeah,
I
how
think
many
you have a lot of that.
universes has he died?
But it's true to the comics, right? This is
Right.
exactly how the comics are. Professor X is dead. He's with the Shi'ar Empire. He's a phony baloney Professor X. He's swapped bodies with Magneto. He's in the same body as Magneto. He's taking over everybody's mind in the world. He's erasing people's minds. That's Professor X. And my deal with this is there's a point where the multiverse becomes too multi, right? Where you run into Rick and Morty territory. Where now there are no stakes at all because we can just pop another Reed Richards into existence. If that John Krasinski thing doesn't take, we don't think it's going to put butts in the seats. Hey, 86 it was a cameo. New guy's going to do it. But look, if it's getting the response we think it is, because he got a big response in my showing as well.
Yes, of course,
Why
right.
shouldn't they do it if they think it'll make money? And look, I feel like I can speak for all the nerds in the United States when I say we'll give you the money for that movie. You will have. You can bank on it. You can fund based on the fact that people buy.
Maybe it was like the audition, like, okay, who's going to be our director for the Fantastic Four? Let's get the audience responses. Now we're going to have directors coming, bidding for
Right.
us for the movie.
Not
Well,
to get off topic,
they did just lose their director, so I mean, it's still up in the air.
Right.
who's gonna
That's what
direct
I'm saying. This is like the open
Four.
audition. Like,
Yeah.
see, this will work. Come to us. You
Oh
want
yeah.
think
us.
Raimi's
Yeah,
a good
I see
choice.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Raimi would be a good choice for Fantastic Four because there's that body horror element that Raimi does really, really well. Where Raimi has a way to gross you out. That movie, Drag Me to Hell, had some real like stuff going into the girl's mouth stuff, like just gross stuff happening there. Really grossed me out. I think Raimi can handle something like show you why Ben Grimm felt gross as the thing, right? Show you
That's
what
a
was
great idea. Excellent idea.
So maybe that would work out. But Sam can't direct every movie. we get a Bruce Campbell cameo. We get a Bruce Campbell cameo in every movie if he did. So that's
Right. Oh, I mean,
Right.
you gotta love the Bruce Cam. You gotta love it.
He'd let
Yeah.
him beat his own ass for 3 weeks.
Right.
That's really great.
What do you think, T. Mitch?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on with you. Just the Illuminati stuff for what it is in the MCU, it wasn't needed for this movie because it was too quick. I mean, and I know we talked about the power levels. Like, I get that she's Phoenix level at this point, but the way she walks them, like, I just, the gore part, like the whole, even like, what is it, the Captain Carter, like, really, you like catch her shield halfway, use the force, and like throw it at her, and it halves her, like she wouldn't know to jump, like, some of it I was just like, gore, cool, but in our MCU, what we know, it just didn't seem realistic. Like I felt like a Captain America, super soldier, can catch it. They're stronger. There's more that they can do to that. And like I said, I get that she's powerful. The way that she, like, even Professor X, which is like the head of this Illuminati that this Strange has created, like the way that she just like kind of dispatches them for the time that they're in the movie, they should have just cut it out. I mean, and I don't know if we'll get into it here or whatever, but I mean, this scene was actually cut like 20 times. The official cameos that were out are still out there. Like the Tony Stark Iron Man is still there. Excuse me, the Tom Cruise one. That'll go to Secret Wars. So there are a ton of cameos. All that stuff you heard was true. They are signed on actors, but they're shifting that. Because think about it, like Hitch said, if this shit don't stick, hey, here's Iron Man. Because we saw the Ultron bot. So Iron Man obviously is here
The
somewhere.
Iron Man
So,
that figured Ultron out right. Like think about
right?
that.
Oh,
That's who
yeah.
that Iron Man is in that reality. Ultron.
So of course. So yeah, so of
Mhm.
course we'll get our Tom Cruise Iron Man at some point. There's a lot of cameos that they had planned that they cut out. The Black Panther, obviously, with Chadwick Boseman's passing, he was a member of this that they were going to do. So there are a lot of cool ideas. And like I said, Marvel is starting to get a little too cute. It's treading on that Star Wars with these like reshoots, and you're just trying to get a little too funny with it. Just put the movie out as it is and run with it because
Well,
they're
okay.
just trying to fine tune things a little too much. And like we said, it's a great movie, but like that, you could have just taken it all out and just gave us more development. I mean,
Well, you have to remember this movie was supposed to come out before WandaVision, I believe.
yeah. And I'm saying they
So
cut it. They kept cutting it up.
so they had to do a lot of chop, and especially when Sony wouldn't move Spider-Man, they had to figure out a way to not only configure WandaVision out of this, but how to make the multiverse stuff make sense from what Sony did with like Spider-Man and everything, because Sony wouldn't budge on their date, so they had to move this right around, because I believe this was supposed to come before Spider-Man as well. So they had to move it after, and COVID happened.
Yeah, this was a November movie. That was the release date, was November.
And that's getting a lot of, behind the scenes stuff. If we're really talking about like, as a viewer, not knowing any of the behind the scenes stuff, I totally agree with what you're saying. The way they presented this movie could have been done a whole lot better. They lost their director, Scott Derrickson and everything, and they had to bring on Sam Raimi at the last minute and everything. But still, okay, do you blame the movie for putting out what it put out based on like the stuff that or do you accept the things that are put on the screen that they could have left off? Like the Illuminati, I feel they could have just left that, period.
They should have, yeah.
It could have been dropped, and you could have had more of a what I want to say, more of a succinct plot, and exploring some of the multiverse stuff. If you're going to call it the Multiverse of Madness and everything, they went through like some Rick and Morty style type, universe, jumping into stuff that they didn't even stop to. And we end up at a place where, okay, you're not really exploring, some of these multiverse, stuff like how you could have, if you're going to call it like the madness type of thing or whatever. I did like, the through line of Wanda though, from her stuff from WandaVision all the way up into this stuff. I like I said, Elizabeth Olsen killed it and everything. I think that the fact that they kept her as a villain was sort of surprised me, because I thought she kind of redeemed herself in WandaVision, and sort of like left that as that. But I mean, I'm remembering like the end credits or the post scene, credit scene, and her, wanting to find her children. So that made a little bit more sense. But I'm like, damn, Wanda, she just going through it, and they just made her full on a villain, which was a different thing, with her being an Avenger and everything. And I'll like a few of you. I'll let you guys speak, because I could go on and on.
Well, I mean, that goes exactly what I meant by like how the trailer goes. The trailer leads you not to believe that, the Scarlet Witch ends up being the true villain of the movie. And, now she's this all-powerful, almighty, unstoppable person that a whole army of wizards can't even touch. It's I mean, I don't want to say they might have gave her a little, she might have powered up a little much, from we last seen her, but I mean, if you think about it, like, she technically always has been bad. I mean, WandaVision, she was a bad person. Yeah. She controlled an entire city, and mind controlled an entire city of people, just because she wanted to. So,
Vision died after Endgame. I mean, Endgame, Vision died and everything, and she was going through her stuff, so she felt she had to take over a city.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what good people do all the time. They take over a city.
They say to themselves, "How can I use dark magic in these people's psyches to create a different reality that I prefer?"
Right.
Hey, Douchey, what did you think about not having all white Vision, like, to try to redeem her? Like, they like skipped him completely out.
Like I feel like they did not have a contract with Paul Bettany. Maybe I don't know. Like,
I don't know, because they was screaming for the all white Vision to try to, like, why would she tear him apart or something? That's what I was hoping.
If not even have the all white Vision, have a Vision in there in a different verse. I mean, where's the father of the kids? In the movie, like, so is it like we got a whole Toy Story thing going on? Where's the father? Like, no one explains it. She never once looks for Vision at all in any of these multiverses.
So in the reality with the Ultrons, right? In the Illuminati reality, wasn't the ultimate plan to put Ultron into the Vision's body? that's why they were getting that body together, right? Was to put Ultron in it. So
that was Ultron's. That was Ultron's
yeah.
vision. It wasn't
That was
Tony
like that was
Stark's.
his that was his final
Yeah,
form.
that wasn't Tony Stark. That was Ultron's vision.
very well.
Well,
Anyway,
do you remember? Did you guys get the Easter egg that the Illuminati was in Iron Man 2?
No, what was that?
When he looked at his pager, it had a bunch of apps on there. One was like a Shield Initiative, Avengers Initiative, and there was an app that said Illuminati. So this was actually teased back in Iron Man 2.
Oh,
Fun
wow.
fact.
That's
It was
funny.
on his device. So yeah, Tony Stark was actually building the Illuminati with Strange all the way back in Iron Man 2, which is weird because like
Strange
that
wasn't strange then.
right, but that shows you how the layers of the multiverse works, and we'll get into obviously the quantum reality with the next Ant-Man. It's going to be the bigger movie because the main villain of that is Kang, the Conqueror.
I mean, do you necessarily want to call these bigger? This was supposed to be the bigger movie and everything, but was it
Right.
really?
This is the
as
kickoff
big?
to the summer. Right.
So
It was
this
a kickoff.
a kickoff to the summer and everything. It's a big movie for what it was. It made like over 180 something million.
And this is why the Illuminati was in there, because it's a May movie, so you
Right.
have to have you have to have Reed Richards, you have to have Charles X, you have to have these people in there. If this was a November movie, maybe that scene or possibly even could have been cut. But this is a
Right.
May movie. This is the kickoff to the summer. This
Okay.
is their $200 million movie that it's coming out, and like you said, this
Did
kicks
they
off the
have to
Marvel
get
season.
dispatched so quickly though? Like
That was a
that.
They
viral
didn't
point.
want a 3-hour movie, Sam.
I understand that, but I mean, oh man, it's
Sam,
Nobody wants to see Black Bolt die more than me. Okay, so
right.
hey, that was the Black Bolt from the TV show.
yes, it was. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty decent.
Well,
that
Sam,
reminded me so much of Invincible. Now that
Yeah.
Invincible, you know what I mean? That whole the running of the alternate Avengers, right? The Avengers, the second team Avengers, and it made me think like these poor, you know what I mean? They're just so overmatched by one. It made me think of Omni-Man, and I thought that was pretty cool because
Yes.
they didn't spray the gore either, right? They cut Captain Carter in half. I mean, woo! So you gotta love that they actually went for broke. They went for all the way, right? They had that skeletal half, like the Two-Face, zombie Doctor Strange. They tied in all the what ifs. I mean,
that was the one if,
Yeah.
and that was your Evil Dead reference too. For when you
mean,
remember Dead Ash, there were so many Evil Dead Easter eggs.
yeah, this was like a really satisfying movie.
It was fun.
And it was a kickoff, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's a nice kickoff. It's a fun movie. Exactly.
we have
a popcorn
we have
movie.
Thor coming out. My interest is, Avengers 2 was about what happens when you have to fight the worst version of Iron Man, right? And I think this movie is interesting because it's like the worst version of Scarlet Witch. So it makes you wonder: are we going to see a worst version of Thor? Are we going to see a worst version of Hulk? Are we going to see a worst version of probably not Hawkeye, right?
I won't comment on that. We've already had this discussion.
I think we already see a worse version of the Hulk. Already mind controlled Hulk.
Just Hulk. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's just Hulk. Just send him Hulk around.
Yeah. But when they shot this and the idea of this movie before they switched to Sam, the Multiverse of Madness, as you said, DP, was really the Illuminati not being just that court, but it was supposed to have your Avengers Endgame moment. That you were going to have Tony Stark, all these different Illuminati members were going to come in from the different realities and actually fight Wanda. That was supposed to be the big reveal, kind of like the Thanos fight.
Stop calling
Toby
that
Maguire was supposed to be in it.
That an in-game moment. That's more like a Rise of Skywalker moment because an in-game moment actually gives you a heart and actually Rise of Skywalker and in-game are two different types of feel. With the portals and everything.
Don't do that.
You can't compare the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I'm sorry, man.
Well, all different quality.
Don't do that.
They're different caliber films, buddy.
Thank you. Don't do that.
Comprehensible.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Nerd Court. I'm gonna have to take you guys into Nerd Court just so we can get on with other shows. Just settle this stuff once and for all. A free for all fight decided totally probably by Ken.
Right.
It'll be a 10. It'll be a 10.
Listen. He's the perfect guy. Ken, we love Ken. He's on our other show, Carbonite Bounty BS, which was we do live Wednesdays at 10. Ken loves to say all the Star Wars movies are 10 out of 10. So when you think about it, a guy like that's the perfect guy to rank these things, because if everything's a 10, then you got to sort it out anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
You
you
know,
do it on
it
this
is, hey,
anyway.
just
That's
keep
why-
feeding us and everything, because you know we're going to take our money out and spend the money anyway. So
Right.
it's not like we're not going to not watch these things, no matter how much we critique and complain about them and everything. You know, they got our money, you know, regardless. But I still like I like the I like, you know, even though Wanda surprised me being a villain and everything, and like the way they actually did her and her continued grief and, like, you know, basically just torturing her and everything, trying to find her kids and stuff. I still like I like the the transition between WandaVision up to this movie, because it made sense on why she continued down the same road. Because I've been hearing complaints on, okay, you know, she's another female, you know, she has a, you know, thing, you know, going through, you know, with kids and stuff. You know, okay, so she's turning the villain because, you know, because of her kids. Why did you make her the villain and everything? You know, so it's been like, you know, some complaints as far as that. I don't know if it's just me being a guy and everything. I thought it was pretty cool if you want to make, you know, those type of I guess gender political, you know, accusations or whatever. You know, I mean, why can't she be the villain? You know, or why not? You know?
You got to see the empathy, you know, because
Yeah.
like you got to feel like, okay, you know, the woman, the one in need and search of her children, you know, so you have that emotional feeling for the villain, and that's what makes a good villain. That's why we've always liked
Yeah.
Loki, because we've
Yeah.
always felt, you know, for the villain. You know, unlike Mordecai and Thor too, you know, you just don't care about him.
No.
He can die and nobody knows any better. But you
Nobody
know, when
does.
right, but when Scarlet Witch, you know, becomes a villain because we have that empathy and we can feel for her. She
Yes.
has their
Yeah.
backstory logged, and you
Yeah.
know, we've seen the pain and sorrow that she has gone through,
Mm.
and the creation of WandaVision.
Yeah.
So for them to keep exploring that, you know, I mean, it's like I said, the trailer does not do her justice for
No.
what she really does
Right.
in that movie, and you know, you could have called it a Scarlet Witch movie, and it would have been just the same. I mean, it was
Right.
Yeah.
she obviously blew out every scene that she
I
did.
mean,
She was
let's be
amazing.
honest though. I mean, this really was her movie, right? I mean, yeah, it's Doctor
It's like her
Strange.
farewell tour, right?
I mean, listen, you're right. They should have just named this the Scarlet Witch movie, gave Elizabeth Olsen her movie, and then we could have did Multiverse of Madness. Because this really was. I mean, think about it. She kills herself. Like
Mhm.
Strange is even the strongest character. He can't even kill her. She
Right.
walks him, right? So she
Yeah.
literally destroys herself out of grief, and we don't even know if she destroyed herself. She just destroyed the Darkhold. You know
Yeah.
where
She
where
could
she
have
just
destroyed the Scarlet Witch, and
yeah, right. So we don't know if she's
It's
really dead.
definitely one of those comic book deaths where, like, if she's in the next movie, none of us, we're all just gonna go, okay.
okay, we accept
Yeah,
it.
right.
It was a blip.
I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
and to your point earlier, Hitch. I mean, it's pure comic book with the asterisks in there and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
see WandaVision, you know,
See
to
WandaVision, episode 7. Like, why?
right,
why say
episode
WandaVision?
7. This is episode.
Right.
I mean, it's straight from that and everything. And to get to you guys' point about Vision, I didn't really miss him here. You know, I mean, you guys bring up questions about, okay, well, why wouldn't she do, or why wouldn't she try to find, like, you know, the White Vision and stuff? As I remember, at the end of that, you know, and to end of that show, the White Vision wasn't really relevant. You know, her vision died. You know, her vision, or no, she created her vision, and her vision went away as soon as, like, the whole town or whatever went away and everything. And then, like, the White Vision is just out there somewhere. You know, we will see that at a later time, but I don't think that was really. I didn't really miss him in this movie. You know, and I think if he appeared, this would have totally would have been like, you know, WandaVision on the big screen. You know, we already see
Right. They
in
could have
the
just
show.
threw him in like the house scene. You know, maybe just
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
saying. Something
just
quick.
a quick right something. He didn't even have to have a line. You
I
know, maybe
wish,
just like hugging the kids or
I
something. You
wish they
know.
would have saved that. You know that jump scare scene from WandaVision where you see that it's really his body and there are craters in his head and it's like a marionette puppet. This I want them to drop that shot here. You know what I mean? Because that shot's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about her. You know, getting into her alternate selves and like puppeting them around and like trying to see the kids and pet the kids and stuff. But I think what makes her so sympathetic, and this is what's great, what it makes a great villain, is the question you have to ask yourself is, would you do the same stuff? I mean, when you think about it, she's separated from these kids by possibility, which is the fifth dimension. We understand being separated from our kids by time and by space. Right. So, you obviously, I did it today. I went and picked up my daughter a couple times, right? Like, I would drive to where she is and get her. You know what I mean? What would you do to get to a time where she is? What would you do to get to a possibility where she is?
Man, that is such a deep comment about possibility. Wow. That is
crazy. I call possibility the fifth.
So you imagine yourself, okay, you had a kid that you never knew about, and all of a sudden somebody introduced it to you, from another universe, and then you get attached to that possibility. So yes, you're gonna cross, in her case, in superhero stuff, you're gonna try to cross universes to try to get to that. So hence your hey, that's deep.
So
right, what lengths do you go to? And she went to extreme lengths, she was taking easy on people, she was having mercy on people.
Oh man.
Yeah. But there's no difference between what she's doing in comic book terms and what Liam Neeson is doing in Taken. There's not a whole huge big difference between the two when you really look at what they're doing, and it makes some sense that like, we get that about parents. It's not like we don't understand what their point is, right? Like Thanos, I want to kill half of all people. What are you going to do in 50 years when we've repopulated? Do it again? And I blew up the stones. You solved the problem for like 2 generations. Thanks a lot. Has anyone looked at the population numbers for like the human race over the last 100 years? So I don't even want to hear about half's going to do it. This guy wasn't even thinking right the first time. He is absolutely right the second time when he's like, I'll just destroy the whole thing and start over, right? I'll do it all the way. That's a Thanos I can understand, right? And it was great to see a dead Thanos too. We got to see that in the
yeah. That was pretty cool.
Removal scene. So some cool stuff. One thing I thought was a little on the nose was us constantly being told that we could harness America's power and save reality over and over. Like, America's weak, America's deteriorating. We need to harness the power of America.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. We got a 5-minute backstory about her. We don't know how the powers developed, how they're used, how they're like nothing. Like, whoop, there goes your lesbian moms. Like, what do we do?
Totally underused. I would have loved some more character on the nose stuff.
Right.
That's
how about this? She doesn't even learn anything, and magically you can control your powers at the end of the movie. You don't learn at all, and then he's just like, how to use them, and then she's smashing portals open, and I'm like, oh, another Rey moment.
Well, right? her thing was fear, she and then they kept they did a little through line for that.
They never trained her though. She doesn't know. She does out of fear.
Did she really need to be trained? Because if she overcame her fear and knew how to use this, maybe the next time she used it doesn't come as easy or whatever. But at this point where she where the pressure is on and everything, that it's like that adrenaline comes, know.
Hey, when Spider-Man jumped his first building, it was fear. He overcame his fear.
Another you're one of the best of the scenes in that movie too, right? That whole swing scene where he's doing the handstand. That's a great scene. That's a classic all-time superhero.
But when she would activate her powers, it would be out of fear, and it wouldn't be like her dramatic punch to be able to open up. You know what I mean? It was there was no, like you said, backstory on how does she activate her powers. He was like, you know how to do it. She does a jumping punch, and she can just open a star portal. You literally were doing it because you were scared, and there was it would open, right? So I just thought they sped her power level up and how she activated them. The ending was just too quick. It was super fast.
It was okay. On scene, so we're coming from a lot of streaming, stuff where these stories are expanded, and we're getting into a 2-hour mode where they got to tell.
That literally was done in 5 minutes. The way she learned her powers.
But you're asking the question. Okay, well, when is she going to train? Why is she going to do this and everything?
We're not going to have a montage scene of her training.
They had that and everything, but they literally had to do so much stuff in this movie. I understand why they left her, as she's more or less just a plot device, for everything that's going on in the movie, which short shrifted her, because I would have liked to see a lot more of her character than just her to be used by Doctor Strange and
Right.
Wanda throughout like the movie and everything. It would have
Right. She
been
just ends up being a
Yeah.
weapon like
that's,
Stormbreaker. You know, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Stormbreaker
That's
got more of
that's
an
it.
origin story.
Weapon that talks.
Right.
You know.
That's what I'm
Um.
saying. But we like you said, DP. But at the end of the movie, then they backpedal, and then she's learning how to harness her power, Carmitage, right? So that's why I was like, you could have just skipped her like using her powers and under controlling them, and then going to Carmitage to further develop herself, and just did it the other way around, right?
Because if Wanda's
I
going to
mean,
kill herself anyway, why do you have to have her? Why does she have to beat Wanda up? Why does that
That's
have to
why.
be the
Yeah, I didn't get that part. I
I
was
agree with you in that sense, and I think that, but I think that I disagree that she couldn't just know how to do it intrinsically, because I think that it's very, very possible for people to gain abilities without the ability to explain how they do things. Right? I think that's something that happens, and I believe that that's real. I believe that it happens all the
It
time.
is, yeah. I guess that's like the X-Men in me, because when X-Men powers kind of develop, it's just like a horrific, like, oh my God, like Scott's eyes the first time and all that. That's kind of my feel. I love that, when he just loses his sight in high school, whatever, or middle school actually is his first time.
I
But
don't know. Did the boys do anything with it yet? Where it's like the thing he's looking at gets the thing he's looking at when he gets all like geeked out as a preteen just explodes randomly. That'd be terrible for him, probably.
hey, real quick, DP,
mhm.
everybody's talking about this on the internet, and I know you probably picked up on this. Bro, the Christine Palmer like arc thing was so bad. Their dialogue was bad. Like everybody on the internet's like, bro, I understand that was his love, but that just never took
They,
off.
they don't have any chemistry, and they didn't really have any
That was
chemistry like
Hey,
the
bad.
well,
first
that's
movie.
why we introduced a new love interest for Doctor Strange in the clips in the
Oh, of
movie.
course, yeah. How about that? You trade the Fast and the Furious one for another.
Yeah,
Charlie Sleeves, they get Brie Larson. I'll take that all day.
All
yeah.
day.
I mean,
All
that's
day.
that's his love in the comics and everything. So yeah, I mean, she was just there for another, plot stuff and everything. And I mean, that's fine. Like, you get Rachel McAdams back in. It's always like good to see her, but they never really had any chemistry. So I didn't really. I just hand waved that. Okay, let's get on to the next thing.
Right.
I
Exactly.
mean, that's fine. The more I see these things, and the more I'm wanting X-Men, the more I'm thinking that okay, with these multiverse stuff, I'm hoping that the X-Men mutant stuff doesn't take place in the main
It
six
can't.
one
It
six.
can't be like an Avengers. It has to, like you're saying, it has to be.
It has to be its own. It has to be its own separate thing because X-Men is so weldy that, and it has so much layers and complication stuff to have all the stuff that happened in the 616 universe. You're
Can't
you're going to have
happen.
to do a lot of explanation, and I think the reason why this movie is what it is to introduce those concepts in other universes, and then
Right.
if they later down the line, if you do end up doing like Secret Wars, you can then bring them together and everything.
Right.
To me, don't use the X-Men in the 616. Just introduce them someplace else.
Right.
As
Well,
a
I mean, it could at the end of this stage with the end of Kang, that's how it could be introduced somehow and intertwined in the universe in some way that way.
A
But
convergence, if you will.
yes,
One of
so
the
but
dangerous things,
time will tell for that.
like they seem to be insinuating, happened on The Witcher, where everything smashed together and they were suddenly one reality. And yeah,
incursion. That's an
yes,
incursion,
That's
right?
their word. Yeah. That's incursion.
Incursion.
That's their
Yeah,
word. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. They kept saying incursions too. So I mean, that's definitely like Chekhov's incursion.
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
their big. That
they're
was the
they're
buzzword.
yeah, yeah, they're
sitting up there,
setting
it's just
something
sitting up
up.
there in the panel. Just wondering
Yeah.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I wonder if there will be an incursion in this phase. Let's say the word some more.
Yeah. Right.
Let's say it a couple more times and everything. Let's have Christine Palmer say it.
Yeah. Right.
Let's see how many of the 5-star stars on this movie we can get to say the word incursion.
Well, they even used it in the bonus trailer with Charlize Theron.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
She even
yeah,
had to throw in the
yeah.
word "you create an incursion," which I'm so excited to see her in live action as an actress. Like her stunts, I mean, she's up there at Angelina Jolie because she's a trained fighter. So
Oh
to see
man,
her,
what was
man,
that
she's
blind?
exciting.
What was that movie
She
she
was good
was
in
in?
Fast and the Furious, like
Comic
her
Blind.
scenes.
Comic Blind. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. She was awesome
she's
in that one. Yeah.
Oh, she was also in what the movie with Will Smith when he was a superhero.
Hancock. Oh man,
Hancock.
which they definitely should make a sequel out of at some point. I wish. Anyway,
Wait, you're telling me you think you could get a Will Smith slapping people movie made? Hancock just slap somebody and they just disintegrate.
Hey,
Slaps with his-
they could have put him in Illuminati. He might have slapped
Oh,
Professor X, this guy from the Inhumans, Reed Richards, and of course, Will Smith.
right.
Will
Yeah,
just- when I made, he's like, when I made Men in Black too, and everyone's just like,
Yeah.
As much as I complain about like the Illuminati, I did appreciate. I appreciate it. It was fan service and everything.
It
I'm
was
like,
fan
okay,
service,
you know,
100%.
if you count that cute thing, that okay, yeah, all right. So hey, John Krasinski, hey, if he comes back, I mean, I love to see that. You know, see that in his full incarnations and everything. You know, seeing I smiled when I seen like the Humans Black Bolt. I was like, that's that same guy from the show, and I had to look it up on IMDb as I was watching the movie to make sure that was, you know, Black Bolt. And then I appreciate like the African American Captain Marvel. I was like, okay, yeah,
Monica Rambeau,
like the comic and everything. So I was like, yeah, that was awesome to see.
And Professor X had the floating chair too. You know, I mean, come on.
Family X-Men run from the '90s, floaty yellow.
Yes,
yeah, the floating yellow chair. I mean, come on. Is that not just a fandom? You know, what I mean?
Oh, they did it. Yeah, that's Marvel being cute, super cute.
Right.
I told you, yeah, man. They're trying to be cute. They're trying to get
I like how
cute.
they have the trope of the tribunal where everybody's in the chairs and you're in the thing. And here they'd establish that the difference between where the chairs were and where you're standing is just like 3 feet and like, like a little pit. And these guys like flying super beings from other dimensions, and like this little dais will help us. We won't have to worry about it.
Right.
It's gold.
Yeah.
But I like how they're inverting that, right? So we've already seen the Illuminati and the Loki, the Time Variant, the TVA or whatever. We've seen these guys show up in multiple places, and so this is ripe for inversion. This is ripe to have something be like a rushing nesting doll of craziness, and who better to send through that than Paul Rudd? I kind of hope that's what they're going to do, is have him keep running in front of these tribunals over and over and over, and they're just different and crazy, and he just like it's like
isn't that like when the Dormammu scene where it just kept going over and over and over.
Yeah. Okay, escapes history. He's like, that's it, I'm out of here. And he's in a different one, different people standing in front of him. He's like, oh.
Right. As Sam touched on earlier, I would have loved to see like them explore more of the universes. You know, I would have liked to see them do a cartoon Doctor Strange real fast, or the paint Doctor Strange. You know, just
opportunity.
Right, just some of the, except for the 30-second flyby of all these universes.
Yeah.
I would have liked to explore that option more, even if it was just a couple minutes and just them just looking around and just making a Marvel comment. Just to get us to laugh.
Yeah. I mean, and then they stop a universe where the light, the gold means red, and red means gold, and then green means something else or whatever.
Oh man, I got huge Dragon Ball Z feelings. How about you, Teamish? Did you feel like you were looking at one of those Dragon Ball Z cities when they were in the fake zone?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I did 100%. I was looking for the giant capsule core building.
Yeah, it was everything except the big geodesic domes, right?
Yep.
Everything except that, but we had all those weird side gardens everywhere. I wonder, one of my favorite. I love these speculative, like alternate universes. My favorite thing to do is speculate on what the difference is between these things. You know what I mean? I think it's really cool. And I like that one of the differences in our universe is this is the Steven that doesn't have to hold the knife, right? He's okay with letting America wield America's own power to save the world.
Right. Let's not take away from this young girl that just got introduced to this movie.
That's right. If America wants to be aggressive and use some force, let America do that.
On the nose.
Let America enforce its
will. No matter how mad this multiverse gets.
Right.
It's only one America, and it's special, and it can do whatever it wants. Damn it!
America doesn't know how it's got its power, but it got its power.
But it hasn't. It's gonna use it. And you know
Just
what?
go use it. Free willy nilly. Just go use it. When you get anger, use it more.
And at the end of the story, we're gonna tell you if we're damn sure we can control that power.
Right. We don't need to explain. We just got it. Just let it do its due. Oh man.
But
Yeah.
yeah, those lessons seem to have been learned in the Sam Raimi comic book hero movie time frame. Like that era, boom, is nicely bookended by should we do that stuff and should we not do this stuff? Right? So it's fun.
It's crazy that this was his. So I didn't know that he didn't do any movies in between Spider-Man 3 and this. That's crazy. I could have sworn that we got like a Sam Raimi movie like somewhere in between that, but I guess he, I don't know what happened with, I don't know what happened with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, he's been in the talks of doing a reshoot with Bruce Campbell and Evil Dead. There's supposed to be a reboot.
I was gonna say he didn't do any of the Evil Dead reboots. Like they did a reboot of that.
Dragged Me to Hell was released in 2009, so that's the only one. Is Dragging Me to Hell, where that juicy
was that after Spider-Man 3?
That was Unbreakable. Oh man, that's a creepy. Yeah, it was. It was 2009, and I know Spider-Man was before 2009 because it was like 2007.
Okay.
It was when I lived in a place.
So maybe he did like one movie or whatever. He didn't do much in between. He certainly didn't come back to superhero stuff.
He did. He did the Evil Dead reboot in 2013. That's why I thought he did that too.
Okay. We should have seen them do like they should have had like a 5-minute jazz dance number right in the middle of this movie, and I think that's how you would know it was a Sam Raimi comic. Some dancing, random dancing. Maybe one of the multiverses is the multiverse from that that Aha video, Take on Me, and they're just dancing around and they look like they're drawings.
If Doctor Strange started doing like the dance from Spider-Man 3, Peter Parker, man, I would have just walked out the movie. That would have just been.
Doctor Strange could have had jazz hands, man.
I mean, think about it though. Like you're saying, the multiverse thing, they could have did an Evil Dead Easter egg. They could have dropped him in the cabin, right? They could have did so much. Like that would have been.
Much. I mean, they missed the opportunity for you name the movie Multiverse of Madness. You're expecting some craziness.
Right. I would have loved to see more crazy multiverses.
And then like you said, like a Wanda movie, Scarlet Witch be at the end and everything. And while I love Wanda, I don't think that it was, if you're going to title a movie like that, you expect more spectacle, you expect more spectacle from like, the multiverse stuff instead of, like I said, speeding through like the different universes. I guess they felt like they did some of that in What If already, but everybody didn't watch What If.
Right.
Let's say that there was like, because we talked about the release order of these movies being a little wacky just because Sony has to do Sony things. It can't be, can't be part of the plan for whatever reason. So let's say this, like Doctor Strange is all about, reads the books and he can do this stuff because he knows the incantations, right? He's all about the rules and how to set everything up and do things on purpose. So Doctor Strange sets up the rules. This is the multiverse, right? Spider-Man is, with great power comes with great responsibility. Consequences. What are the consequences of the multiverse being activated by Doctor Strange? Other Peter Parkers show up. Multiple Peter Parkers in the same place. So we find in Doctor Strange the mechanism that caused the stuff that's going on in Spider-Man.
Which would be an incursion.
An incursion. We see this incursion happening. And if the release order is correct, and this is the second movie, the third movie is going to be Quantumania. So in the third movie, we have Ant-Man, and the scale and the scope changes, right? So now we have this, instead of one reality or two realities or a little bit, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of realities all at once. So I think what we are talking about is what are the possibilities of a multiverse reality, and you're right, we're not really getting there yet. And I think it's because this is the setup. We're looking at the setup of the next phase.
Yeah.
And that is anything can happen. And guess what? Secret Wars is going to tell us, and we know this is like not spoilers, just comic book thing. Secret Wars is going to tell us anybody can be anybody, which we already know from Captain Marvel. So what we're about to see is the rules of the reality are established in that first cycle that ends with Endgame, and now we see the consequences of Well, what if those rules aren't so rigid? What if you can travel in time? What if you can move through realities? Well, what then? What if you could do anything? What would you do? Right? And that's the question that, in a meta context, Marvel is asking itself because they literally have enough money and enough budget to do any story they could possibly want. And so it
Yeah.
all dovetails together nicely with what the movies are now.
Loki, WandaVision, this movie, is basically getting to come. I mean, I've never seen it to where you set up an audience for craziness like comic multiverse stuff. And I would have never thought you would see anything
Yeah,
like
you never thought we would see this. You know,
like
right?
that's just crazy to me. And now it's mainstream. Okay, well, we could do like multi. I mean, they can bring Captain America. I mean, they could just do anything back. Iron Man or whatever, different type of Iron Man at a later time or whatever. Totally just reboot the thing and just it's a multiverse stuff. I guess better than DC was trying to do, but
Right.
but yeah, I mean they're from those three series. I mean those two series in this movie. Definitely, you're right, Hitch. They're setting. It's all a setup, just like how they did like the first set of movies and everything. You have to build towards the big thing, and this is not the end game movie. This is still a Doctor Strange, sort of like a standalone type thing where we're giving you teases of like what the multiverse could be, and may not be to your satisfactory. But like I said, we still bring our money to the table to watch the stuff. But you'll get the crazy stuff later down the line.
DP, did you get the Shang-Chi payoff?
What was that?
The fact of the runes, that's the 10 rings. Remember when Wong opened them up in the ancient technology?
Oh
The
yeah,
dark the
okay.
dark hold? It's that same, they still don't understand, but it's in the same
I,
kind
I,
of
I sort of
energy.
thought that they had like some through line
It was
relativity and
to the
everything.
it
I
was to
gotta
the
go back
10
and watch
rings.
Shang Chi
Yeah.
to see that's a good thing about watching these things over once they get on TNT and TBS and everything. You get to
Yeah.
watch these things over
Hmm.
and get to pick up on some more stuff and appreciate what they're trying to build. And
That's exactly
especially
what I was going to
you
say.
know,
You get
It
to see
is.
the appreciation, after seeing it, and make Thor 2 not a bad movie because of the appreciation of, the ether and everything.
oh yeah,
It's just you could go back and relate and say, I have a more of appreciation for this movie.
it makes it more tolerable to watch. Put it
Right.
put it put it that
For the
way.
to talk to Thor again, and that made up for all the fact that during the time when I was watching Endgame, because I fell asleep every single time that I've tried to watch Thor 2, every single I had no idea what was going on except from the context. So thank God he was explaining expositorily to Rocket what was going on. I was hoping I had any idea. Thankfully, we get
Um,
lucky.
but yeah, so we'll wrap this up here. So yeah, overall, like if you want to give you like your rankings and stuff, where would you rank this in like the ether of MCU content? I should say movies. Let's just keep it to movies. Where would you rate this? Let's start you off with you, Ducci.
It's not in the upper tier. I can tell you that, but it's not in the bottom. I would say it's somewhere like around the Black Widow range. I would say in that area, Black Widow, Captain Marvel range area. Late teens of a movie. But again, let's see. We might be able to go back and appreciate it more later on when the develops more. But as a movie and it fitting in, of course I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a top tier Marvel movie. But it was definitely obviously not one of the lower ones either.
All right, T. Mitch.
Um, I'll be a little more slightly optimistic than douchey. It's not a top 10. It's teetering there because of the movies that are out there. It's not a top 10. It's kind of on that 11ish, 11, 12 range. I mean, the catalog of 28 movies, it's up there. The production's great, great actors. I mean, you're getting those super A-listers now. You're getting Charlize Theron added to this. This is really up in the level. What do you think about Tron Krasinski or not? You're getting actors in there that we wouldn't see that will now do things as we talked about on Disney Plus, and they'll introduce them to other avenues. So I mean, Disney and Marvel, they're as Hitch says, they're handing the checks out and these guys are signing them. So I'm excited about the future. But yeah, I'd say it's at like 10-ish, right outside that top echelon of the Marvel movies.
Hitch.
I think it's solidly in that second tier, like you're saying. I mean, if I have my favorites, and I think of the movies that have like payoffs to long term moments, and I think that there's a layer of those movies that's maybe superior to this. That being said, Doctor Strange, is not, is not the 1A property here. I mean, X-Men's a bigger property in my opinion. Fantastic Four's a bigger property in my opinion. And so the fact of the matter is that this is a second tier. It's a second tier property. Now that being said, every single dollar of the budget's on the screen. It's gorgeous. The multiverses are all wonderfully and lavishly rendered, and I feel like this is a bookend to WandaVision. And I think that you can see how we're getting call and answers between Disney series and the actual tentpole movies. And so what we're getting is a deeper dimension to our experience because we have the Disney Plus stuff. Would you get all the Wanda stuff if you hadn't seen WandaVision? You would understand what she's doing. They explain it to you. But you don't see the depth of like where she's willing to go already to get like these results, right? You don't know that she's willing, we don't have that frightful image of the dead Vision being moved around. I go back to that over and over. And I think that this movie proves that you can do something with more more depth, and you still can have these tentpole movies. You don't have to choose between the two. So for me, it's not going to be like Winter Soldier. It's not Avengers 3, which is the my favorite of that set. But it's firmly in there with say Iron Man or Thor 1, and definitely above Thor 2.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you guys, like mid tier, slightly above, because I think as a Doctor Strange movie, it's just it's regular. I've never really been into the Doctor Strange as a character. I could give or take him, but as Wanda, as Scarlet Witch and everything, I'm loving her journey from when she got introduced in Age of Ultron, to what we seen in the Civil War movie, into to her deepening, her when she killed all those people and everything, and then what we get with her in both the sequel Avengers movies and then WandaVision up till now. So just like how they did with Steve Rogers' journey and everything, which was to me still far and above the best journey through all the MCU characters, and how they how Chris Evans just killed it in that role and everything. I'm seeing the same things with Elizabeth Olsen and Wanda, with Scarlet Witch and Wanda. I love WandaVision. I love how she made us feel emotional with the Endgame stuff. I'm sorry, the Infinity War, and then going towards like the Endgame. Not really in the game, actually. They're going towards WandaVision and everything, and then what she did here in this Doctor Strange movie. I'm hoping, of course she's not dead, it's comic book, movie, stuff. So we're gonna see her again. And I can't wait to see more of her. As far as Doctor Strange, like I say, he's not that upper echelon yet. I don't think Marvel is as really, I don't think they put their finger on who they want to be that, but they're really trying with Doctor Strange, and I don't know if it's necessarily working for me as of yet. So we'll see. We got like Thor, the Love and Thunder coming out, this year. We got the Black Panther movie coming out. I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. Now that we, unfortunately with Chadwick Boseman's passment and everything, how that movie's going to turn out and stuff. But it should be a spectacle in itself. So I want to thank everyone for coming out to watch us. And if you're watching us on the replay, make sure that you are going to that nerdcyclopedia.com website, following us and hitting us up and everything, and giving us some feedback on what you guys think about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Thank you everybody for coming out, and I guess we'll see you when we see you.
Do we have like a sign off that we say on it on Inside Fest? I know on our other show we say this is the way.
This is not the way. This is not the way.
No.
You
Are we
know?
going to say like smell you later on here or something? Like what are we?
In
We
Feige,
could-
we trust.
And
In Feige, we trust.
You know,
You could say Avengers
down.
Assemble.
hey, you know, so
Hey, for your movie, you can say that, DP, Avengers Assemble, because that saved your movie, right?
Was that not one of the best parts of any Marvel movie ever?
Portal.
I still get
not according
goosebumps.
to T. Mitch.
I get
Not
it
goosebumps
was.
every time
Yeah.
I hear it.
It was for 15 minutes.
Oh my God. You know, oh gosh, look at the time.
Oh, man.
Bye. Peace out.
I'll take you to Nerd Court. That's what we're going to start saying at the end of the show.
Excelsior!
Excelsior. There we go. Excelsior.
Excelsior!
Yeah.